In the primordial ages, when the world was young, and the veil between heaven and earth was thin, walked Enoch, the seventh from Adam. He was not a warrior, nor a king, but a scribe of the divine, a man whose heart was so pure, and whose steps so aligned with the will of the Most High, that he walked with God. His days were spent in quiet contemplation, charting the celestial dance of stars and seasons, and recording the whispers of creation. But the earth below was stirring with a different kind of soul, a discordant melody of ambition and transgression. High above, in the celestial spheres, were the iron, the watchers. These were angels dispatched by the Most High to observe the fledgling human race. 200 of them, led by the proud and cunning Semyaza, began to cast their gaze not upon humanity's growth, but upon the beauty of the daughters of men. A forbidding desire took root in their luminous forms. They descended upon the peak of Mount Hermon, binding themselves with a terrible oath. Let us choose for ourselves wives from the daughters of men, and let us beget for ourselves children. Semyaza declared, his voice echoing through the mountain air, tainted with lust. And so, they fell. They took human women as their own, and from these unions a monstrous progeny was born. The Nephilim. Giants they were, of immense stature and insatiable appetites, their hunger consuming all the produce of the earth. When the land could no longer sustain them, they turned upon humanity itself, devouring flesh, spilling innocent blood. The earth groaned under their weight, defiled by their violence. But the Watchers did more than merely procreate. Azazel, the most defiant among them, taught mankind the forging of weapons, swords, shields, and breastplates, and the crafting of ornaments and the art of cosmetics, leading to vanity and conflict. Gadriel taught the blows of death. Barachel unveiled the secrets of astrology, leading men to worship the stars rather than their creator. Penamui taught the bitter secrets of writing and the sweet lies of wisdom, twisting knowledge into instruments of deception. Sariel revealed the hidden paths of the moon, empowering dark arts. The gifts they bestowed were not of grace, but of corruption, turning human ingenuity to destruction and spiritual decay. The cry of the earth, heavy with the blood of innocence and the lamentations of a perverted humanity, ascended to the heavenly gates. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, the holy archangels, beheld the devastation. They pleaded before the throne of the Most High. You see what Azazel has done, O Lord, and how he has taught all unrighteousness upon the earth. And Semyaza, to whom you gave authority to rule over his companions, they have united themselves with the daughters of men upon the earth, and have lain with them, and have become defiled, and have revealed to them all kinds of sins. The Most High, in his infinite justice, heard their plea. His wrath was kindled against the Watchers and their monstrous offspring. It was then that Enoch, walking in his customary communion with God, was visited by the archangels. They found him in a place of quiet prayer, his spirit untroubled by the turmoil below. Enoch, scribe of righteousness, Gabriel spoke, his voice like the resonance of distant thunder. You have been chosen. Go forth and declare to the Watchers their doom. Tell them that their time is at an end, that their petition for forgiveness shall not be heard, for they knew their great sin when they committed it. Enoch, filled with divine courage, undertook the perilous journey. He traversed vast wildernesses, scaled craggy mountains where the Nephilim prowled, and navigated valleys steeped in shadow. He carried no weapon, only the divine word and the light of his unwavering faith. He found the Watchers gathered in despair, for the consequences of their actions were already upon them. The earth, defiled by the giants' consumption, began to rebel, and the cries of their human wives, burdened by monstrous offspring, echoed through their unholy dwellings. Before them, Enoch, a mere mortal, stood resolute. To Azazel, he proclaimed, his voice imbued with heavenly authority. The Lord has commanded that you be bound hand and foot and cast into the darkness, into the desert of Dudael. He shall heap upon you rugged and sharp rocks, and cover you with darkness, and there shall you abide forever, for your teaching has brought corruption upon the earth. To Semyaza and his companions, Enoch delivered a similar pronouncement. You shall be bound beneath the earth for 70 generations, until the day of their judgment and of their consummation, until the judgment that is for all eternity is consummated. Then shall they be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment, and to the prison, in which they shall be confined forever. And for the Nephilim, the giants born of transgression, they shall rise up against each other, and their days shall be cut short, and all the corrupt works of the watchers shall be destroyed from the face of the earth, for the judgment of the come and silence of the Most High. Let's look at the relief of the Christian brother. The watchers, upon hearing their inescapable fate, trembled. They had sought pleasure and power, but now faced eternal darkness. After delivering the divine decree, Enoch was taken up, not by flesh and bone, but by the Spirit. The archangels guided him through the celestial realms, revealing to him the secrets of the cosmos. He journeyed to the ends of the earth, beheld the storehouses of the winds, the chambers of the hail and snow, and the foundations of the mountains. He saw the courses of the sun and moon, the order of the stars, and the precise timing of all created things. He was shown the habitations of the righteous and the abodes of the wicked, the rivers of fire prepared for the rebellious, and the glorious thrones awaiting those who walked in justice. He witnessed the great judgment seat of the Most High, the Ancient of Days, and learned of the Son of Man, the Chosen One, who would one day execute final judgment upon all flesh. Enoch diligently recorded all that he saw and heard. His writings detailed the fall of the watchers, the wickedness of the Nephilim, the coming great flood that would cleanse the earth of its defilement, and the promise of a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness would dwell. He wrote of the order of the heavens, the wisdom of God's creation, and the prophecies stretching to the end of days. His final message was one of warning and hope. Observe everything that takes place in the heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it, from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon earth change, but all the works of God appear to you. For all his works go on thus from year to year forever, and all the tasks which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as God has ordained, so is it done. When his mission was complete, and his scrolls filled with the profound revelations, Enoch was taken, not by death, as other mortals, but by God himself. And he was not, for God took him. He disappeared from the sight of men, a testament to his righteous walk, leaving behind his writings as a legacy, a hidden key to understanding the ancient past and the prophetic future. Though his book would be lost to many for ages, preserved only in distant lands, its echoes would resound through the ages, a silent witness to the consequences of disobedience and the eternal justice of the Most High. Following his solemn declaration to the watchers, Enoch found himself lifted from the defiled earth, not by physical hands, but by an ethereal current that flowed from the very heart of the cosmos. Gabriel, whose presence shimmered like a distant galaxy, and Uriel, whose light burned with the knowledge of divine judgment, became his guides. They ascended through layers of atmosphere, past the familiar blue of the sky, into realms of pure light and sound that transcended human comprehension. He passed through the first heaven, where the clouds gathered and the elements were stored, vast treasuries of rain, snow, hail, and dew, each awaiting its appointed time. Uriel explained the intricate mechanism of the weather, how even the smallest drop of dew was part of a grand design, a testament to the meticulous order of the Creator. Enoch saw the great rivers that flowed from the celestial reservoirs, sustaining the earth, and understood that even what seemed chaotic below was governed by divine precision above. Next, they journeyed to the second heaven, a realm of profound quietude where the imprisoned watchers were held. Here, Enoch witnessed their torment, not as a spectacle, but as a somber confirmation of justice. Their luminous forms, once radiant, were now dimmed, flickering with despair as they awaited their ultimate fate. Chains of celestial light, unbreakable and eternal, bound them in abyssal darkness. He heard their low moans, a chilling counterpoint to the cosmic harmony of the higher heavens, and understood the depth of their repentance, futile though it was. It was a stark reminder of the consequence of free will misused. Their ascent continued into the third heaven, a realm of unparalleled beauty and intricate design. Here Enoch beheld the garden of righteousness, a paradise untouched by the blight of the fallen. Trees bore fruits of life and wisdom, their leaves whispering eternal truths. Rivers of pure light flowed, nurturing souls of the righteous departed, awaiting their resurrection. He saw the spirits of the saints, translucent and serene, basking in the divine presence, their faces aglow with anticipation of a restored earth. This vision filled his soul with both peace and a renewed urgency to record all that he saw, for humanity needed to know the paths to both damnation and salvation. It was in the fourth heaven that Enoch received revelations concerning the luminaries and the precise cosmic calendar. Uriel, the angel of light, became his tutor. Enoch witnessed the vast celestial mechanisms. The sun, a chariot of fire traversing its appointed path. The moon, waxing and waning in perfect synchronicity. The stars, countless and ordered, each with its own name and function. He learned of the 364-day solar calendar, a perfect system ordained by God, differing from the corrupt lunar cycles adopted by men. Uriel explained how the deviation from this divine calendar contributed to the disharmony on earth, severing humanity's connection to the true rhythm of creation. Enoch meticulously documented the cycles, the gates of the sun's rising and setting, the phases of the moon, and the movements of the constellations, understanding that true wisdom lay in aligning human life with cosmic order. Through the fifth heaven, Enoch witnessed the heavenly scribes, angels whose task it was to record every deed of mankind, every thought, every word, good and evil. Their vast scrolls unrolled across the celestial expanse, luminous with the history of all creation. It was a sobering sight, confirming the omnipresence of divine knowledge and the inescapable accountability of every soul. This reinforced Enoch's own role as a scribe, understanding that his records served a higher purpose in the divine accounting. In the sixth heaven, Enoch saw beings of immense power, the unfallen watchers, who served the Most High with unwavering loyalty. These were the true watchers, guardians of the divine order, ministering spirits who oversaw the lower heavens and carried out divine commands. Their forms were majestic, their voices a continuous chorus of praise. They were a stark contrast to their fallen brethren, demonstrating the glory of obedience and faithfulness. He saw the principalities and powers, ranked and ordered, serving the divine will, and understood the intricate hierarchy of the cosmos. Finally, in the seventh heaven, the highest realm accessible to him, Enoch stood before the very threshold of the divine presence. He saw the Ancient of Days, whose raiment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool, seated upon a throne of fiery flame. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, and thousands upon thousands ministered to him. The glory was blinding, beyond all description, a profound sense of holiness and eternal power. Here he beheld the Son of Man, the Chosen One, whose face shone brighter than the sun, destined to execute judgment and establish an eternal kingdom. This was the ultimate revelation, the promise of redemption and renewal that transcended the immediate chaos of his own time. Returning to the precipice where he had ascended, guided once more by Gabriel and Uriel, Enoch felt his spirit profoundly changed. He was still the scribe, but now he carried the weight of cosmic knowledge and prophetic insight. His earthly mission, however, was not yet complete. The archangels charged him with a final task, to return to the earth, though unseen by most, and deliver his revelations to Noah, his great-grandson, who was chosen for the coming cataclysm. The world Enoch descended to was far more consumed by wickedness than when he had left it. The gifts of Azazel had proliferated. Men now reveled in crafting elaborate weapons, not just for defense, but for conquest and slaughter. Women adorned themselves with excessive vanity, their hearts turning from purity to deceit. Astrology and divination had replaced sincere worship, twisting human souls further from the Creator. The Nephilim, unchecked, had grown even more monstrous, their cannibalistic feasts a common terror, their roars echoing across blood-soaked lands. The earth itself seemed to weep, its fertile ground becoming barren, its rivers choked with corruption. Enoch, now a spiritual entity moving unseen among men, observed this escalating depravity. He saw the sorrow in the heart of Lamech, Noah's father, as he gazed upon his righteous son amid such a wicked generation. Lamech had expressed concern at Noah's birth, sensing a divine purpose, even a distinct physical appearance that set him apart. For a child has been born to me, and he will be a consolation to us, and he will be called Noah. Lamech had said, recognizing the coming judgment and hoping for a reprieve through his son. Through divine prompting, Enoch communicated with Noah, not through direct speech that would shatter the mortal mind, but through visions, dreams, and profound spiritual impressions. He imparted the secrets of the celestial calendar, the true measurements. He revealed the divine plan for the great flood, explaining the purpose of the ark, its dimensions, and the necessity of preserving life to restart humanity. Noah, a righteous man in a perverse generation, received these divine instructions with awe and humility. He understood the urgency, the terrible necessity of what was to come. The details that Enoch conveyed from his celestial journeys filled in the gaps of what Noah had already perceived through his own communion with the Most High. The astronomical knowledge guided him in understanding the precise timing. The understanding of the Watcher's crimes provided context for the profound judgment. Enoch's writings, meticulously penned before his final ascension, became a testament for future generations, a record of divine justice and mercy. They detailed the precise nature of the Watcher's sins, the corruption they unleashed, and the reason for the drastic cleansing of the flood. They foretold of the various ages of the earth, from creation to the ultimate establishment of the Messianic kingdom, offering a panoramic view of human history from the divine perspective. His final instructions were not just for Noah, but for all who would eventually rediscover his words. A plea to return to the path of righteousness, to understand the intricate order of God's creation, and to await the final judgment with hope. Blessed are all the righteous, and blessed are all those who walk in the path of righteousness, and sin not as the sinners. His words were a beacon in the encroaching darkness, a promise that despite the current suffering, divine order would ultimately prevail. When all had been revealed, and Noah had fully grasped his sacred task, Enoch's earthly connection finally severed. He was drawn fully into the divine presence, beyond the veil of mortal sight. His disappearance, chronicled in Genesis, was a silent, profound miracle, a righteous man taken by God. He left no grave, no earthly resting place, but an unparalleled legacy in his prophetic scrolls. These writings, though largely excluded from the main canons of later religions, were not lost entirely. They were preserved by dedicated few, passed down through generations, finding their most complete form in distant lands, whispered among scholars and mystics. Fragments of his ancient wisdom would resurface in later eras, confirming his prophecies, shedding light on enigmatic passages in other scriptures, and forever reminding humanity of the deep spiritual battles fought in the primordial ages. Enoch, the scribe who walked with God, remained a silent witness, his words resonating through time, a testament to divine justice, cosmic order, and the enduring hope for a world renewed.